Hi there, welcome back to my channel. This is Amrit. I sell real estate in Toronto. In this video, I'm going to give you a detailed tour about this amazing city via Google Maps. So if you're considering to move to Toronto, I think this video will be really helpful for you. Before heading to the video, please like, share and subscribe. This will really help my channel, and let's get right into it. Okay, so I've just opened Google Maps. So I'm just going to walk you through different neighborhoods of the city. Hopefully that will help you to understand the city well. This is the map of Toronto. So Toronto is a combination of 6 neighborhoods, and that's why it's also called the 6. So 6 neighborhoods are Etobicoke, York, and you've got Toronto. For some reason it's not showing up here. And then we've got East York and Scarborough in the east and North York in the north. Okay, so let me just open this up. Okay, so I'm going to highlight few main streets in the downtown core, and as well as going to give you some directions of the city. So anything which is towards the water or towards Lake Ontario is south, anything opposite of that is north, and anything left side is west and right side is east. Okay, so I'm going to highlight the few main streets in the downtown core. So we've got Queen Street, Richmond, Adelaide, King and Front Street. So these run from east to west, and to name a few which run north to west and the main streets are Bathurst, Spadina, and you got University Avenue. There's a Bay Street here. Let me just zoom in. Give me a second. Sorry. Yeah, so we got Bay Street. So Bay Street is also called the Wall Street of Toronto. This is close to Financial District. And then on the east, we've got Yonge Street. Talking about Yonge Street, so this is apparently one of the longest street at least in North America. Please don't quote me on that. I'm not too sure, but yeah, apparently it is. And Yonge Street acts like a dividing border of the city. So anything west of Yonge is considered west, and anything east side of Yonge is considered east end of the city. So let's talk about Union Station and start from there. So Union Station is the main transit hub of the city, where all different kind of transit have a stop there. May it be GO train, subway or Via Rail or streetcar, they all have a stop here. It's the main interchange of different transits. For those of you who's wondering what is GO train, so GO train is basically the intercity transit, and this Via Rail is intercity as well as interprovince transit, and subways which runs within the city. Okay, now let's talk about different districts in the city. So heading towards Financial District is just north of Union Station. You can see it's highlighted in red. It is just south of Queen Street and north of Front Street and east of University Avenue and west of Yonge Street. So within this vicinity, this is the Financial District. So you've got the head offices of all the big 5 banks here. We've got accounting firms, and there is law firms, IT offices, and Toronto Stock Exchange is also over here in this vicinity. Okay, now let's head towards the east side of the city first. So I'm going to focus on Distillery District. Hands down, this is a very nice neighborhood. It's actually one of my personal favorites. It's got great restaurants, bars and breweries and great coffee shops. And it's actually got a very unique European vibe to it, which I think is pretty cool. And it's not too far from the core of downtown. It's about like 10 to 15 minutes walk, which is not bad at all. And it's got decent connectivity via streetcar, so that's cool too. There's a new Ontario line which is going to go close by Distillery District. So the subway stop of the Ontario line is going to be at Corktown. So that's going to help and appreciate the overall value of the neighborhood. Okay, and there are decent buildings in this neighborhood. For example, 70 Industrial District or 39 Parliament or 33 Mill Street. All these buildings are pretty decent if you're looking to invest or rent. Both are good options. And grocery is also close by. St. Lawrence Market, you can see in the map, it's right across Distillery. So that's pretty much. So overall, it's a great neighborhood. Okay. So now let's head to next neighborhood, that is Regent Park. Sorry, I forgot to mention the access to DVP or Don Valley Parkway is also easy from Distillery District. So these are the highways which help you to go out or come into the city. Okay. So now let's head to Regent Park, which is just north of Distillery District. So Regent Park is north of Queen to south of Gerrard to west of River to east of Parliament Street. I totally agree that Regent Park has always had a bad rep and had a stigma to it in the past. It's still, there are certain pockets in the area which is slightly rough, so you got to be careful of that. But the Regent Park, the Daniels has done a great job. Daniels is the developer which has done a great job in revamping the area, and also the city is putting lots of money in revitalization of this area. So I see that as an opportunity if you're looking to invest long term. almost guarantee you're gonna do well with your investments. And if you're looking for slightly cheaper rents as compared to rest of the city, you might find one or two decent deals in this area. Okay, and when I say if there's an opportunity to invest, is because the average per square feet price in rest of the city is about, it hovers around 1200 to 1300 square feet, but in Regent Park it hovers around 1000 to 1050 per square feet. So I see that as an opportunity. All right, so now let's head to the west part of the city. So that is, we are heading towards Fort York Boulevard, which is at Bathurst and Fort York intersection. So there's a neighborhood just south of Fort York National Historic Site. So there are a bunch of buildings in this area which are pretty good, and there's a sense of strong community in this neighborhood. The demographic is pretty young, all working, most of them are working professionals, and they have just built up a new Loblaws which is pretty massive. There's a new LCBO and Shoppers and whole lot of things in this neighborhood. And just north of Fort York Boulevard is King West. It's right here where I'm moving my cursor. So King West is basically the nightlife hub of the city. You've got all the clubs and restaurants out there, and very nice restaurant, no doubt about it. So it's a pretty busy area, and sometimes it's get loud, but staying in Fort York at the same time you are tucked in, and at the same time you are closer to King West, or you have access to all great restaurants and bars and whatnot. Okay, so focusing back on Fort York Boulevard, in this area you have access to a lot of different parks. You can see there's a canoe landing which is in the City Place area, but it's closer to Fort York Boulevard. And there is Coronation Park just south of Fort York Boulevard. And if you go slightly more southwest, there's Ontario Place, which is not too far from Fort York again. Ontario Place is where a lot of different concerts happen, so it's a pretty busy venue, especially in summers, and very lively too. And you're not too far from water, which is cool again, and access to Billy Bishop Airport and the island is not too bad as well. And if you're living in this vicinity and you're working in financial district, it's not too bad of a commute, or you can bike to work. It's not too bad at all. And now on the west side of the Fort York Boulevard, we have Liberty Village. I can make a whole different video on Liberty Village. It's a nice neighborhood, but you gotta be careful of a couple of buildings which you need to stay away from. If you need more details on those, give me a call or get in touch with me. I can give you more detailed information on those. So that's pretty much on the west. So now let's head to the Queen's Park, which is right over here. So Queen's Park is basically, this is where the Premier of Ontario, Mr. Duckworth, sits. And just, this is the office right here. And just north of this is the Queen's Park. Queen's Park is kind of a central park of Toronto. Please don't quote me on that, but that's totally my personal opinion. And just west of Queen's Park, we have University of Toronto. So if any student, if you are going to University of Toronto, then I would suggest you could look for apartments in this vicinity near Bloor and Yonge. There are lots of condos over here, and it's slightly expensive, no doubt about it. So I would suggest look for a roommate and rent a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom condo. And on the other side, if you're an investor, I would vouch for this area to invest. I would say there's a lot of demand for condos or houses all across Toronto, but here specifically because of University of Toronto being close by. So if you're an investor, a nice place to invest in. There's a good potential rental income. Okay, and just slightly north of Yonge and Bloor, you've got Yorkville. Again, this is a super expensive area. I should make a different video on this, so I'm not gonna get too much into details of this. And yeah, that's pretty much. So primarily I've focused on the areas which are condo intensive, and there are areas which do not have many condos, and you get to see a lot of freehold houses. For example, Leslieville in the east, or Little Italy in the west, or Roncesvalles in the west right here. All are amazing areas, but I think I should make a separate video on this one, and I'm going to do that. Let me know in comments below what would you want to hear from me. This will really help me in making more videos. And yeah, that's pretty much. Alright, so that was my detailed tour of the city of Toronto. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me by clicking on the first link mentioned in the description below. And I really appreciate you watching this video. Thank you.